Thanks everybody for being here. Yeah. I'd like to introduce Pamela, who does co-create with me, and she's going to give us a little taste of what's happening right now or into January, because we're going to have a big a big astrology report in January.
Yes.
You don't want to miss that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So this is the just lead in because we'll be talking more at length about some of the shifts and changes that Janet mentioned that are going to basically what's going on celestially, what's mirroring what's happening here on Earth. And the big shift that is occurring from our perspective, 2020 is yay on its way out, and we experienced basically from 2008 until now some incredible shifts in a, one might say, evolutionary context, and so it's been challenging. And 2020 was a year with a lot of celestial pictures that we always foresaw as being a very difficult year. What's happening now is Saturn is about to move back into the sign of Aquarius. It does it on the 16th. And then on its heels, Jupiter enters Aquarius. And on the winter solstice, they are in alignment from Earth's perspective. And this event hasn't been seen this close since 1212, the Middle Ages. It happened in, I think it was 1623, where they were lined up. And so what happens is Jupiter's closer to Earth and Saturn comes up behind it. So it looks like there's this very bright point in the sky, like a bigger star. And it's something we should be able to see if you've got a clear night. So it's what it means is it means that these two planetary energies that symbolize the two heads of the father. So I always think of the god Janus looking forward and looking backwards. And the father archetype, of course, is within us all. It's in how we structure our economy, our institutions, our corporations. And we are leaving Earth-based economy, which has been going on since early 1800s with the rise of the Industrial Revolution, when all these two planets kept re-meeting every 20 years in Earth signs. Now we're looking forward to about 140, 50 years of these two planets lining up in air signs. So what we're on the threshold of is economies and ways of collaboration that have to do with communication, innovation, and new ideas, expansion. And we're leaving, not that we still aren't going to want economies and industries and all of that, but the connection to the material and production, and one might say raping and pillaging Earth's resources, is on its way out. We're entering more a realm of ideas. And so it's very exciting. It's not exciting to people who are very attached to old ways of being. And we're seeing a lot of last gasps of the juggernaut and dinosaurs that want to keep things the way they've always been. But that's not where we're going. So yesterday was an eclipse, new moon, and we're in this lovely, juicy period of how we can create, what we can imagine. I think this is the perfect presentation for it as we open our minds to things we can't even dream of yet. What youth, children, and onward generations will do gives me goosebumps. I mean, it's exciting as 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 we're all in this period of grief, because we are grieving what has been in this time of enforced isolation at the same time that we're creating tomorrow. And it's all perfectly laid out celestially. And the thing I do want to say is early January leading up to when I will be speaking with my colleagues Colin and Jenny Stone, and we're going to present 2020 and what you can expect from astrologer's perspective. But basically, until we meet again, we're heading towards the inauguration in the United States. So think about more potential dreams and expectations and what we can imagine than the old energy that's more about fear of change, because we're not there. We have to crack the egg open. So that's all I'm going to say now.
Thanks, Pamela. All right. So as Pam was saying, we are having on the 18th of January will be our next event, and that we will have a panel of astrologists to give an overview for us. And then in February, we have Kat Guthrie and Kevin Spaeth doing a discussion on sacred sensuality. They hold groups for couples, and it should be, I think it's close to Valentine's Day that we'll be gathering. So that'll be very sweet. And we'll have a good next 6 months to see if we're ever going to meet again. But I'd like to introduce right now to Michelle Levy. And Michelle is a creative writer, but she does a lot of other things. She holds classes and she teaches. And what's very interesting about her, she's got these degrees and she's worked in publishing, and but she's also got a background in neuroscience. So she can really use her work to also get the brain to kind of shift through experiences and writing and free form and that kind of thing. But she does this great presentation on labyrinths. And I'm going to introduce you, Michelle, as you've got the board. I am letting go. I'm shutting down.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Number one, to share a love for labyrinths. I might even get up out during there's a film I'm going to show. It's a 5-minute movie that I created to synthesize information about labyrinths. But I will say that I first got turned on to labyrinths when I was pregnant with my first child. And there's a birth educator named Pam England who wrote a book called Labyrinth of Birth. And she compares the stages of labor to a labyrinth. Now, a labyrinth is called unicursal, which means there's only one path. It's distinct from a maze, because a maze you can get stuck and get turned around, have to redouble. But a labyrinth is unicursal. And what's interesting, I think, the lesson of the labyrinth is that we are always, it's all forward motion toward our goal or toward our destiny, but it can seem like you're getting turned away from the center. The center is your destiny. And while you walk the labyrinth or do finger labyrinth, which is what we're going to make tonight, you can have a labyrinth wherever you are. On your way to your destiny, it may seem like you get turned away. But the lesson of the labyrinth is that it's all progress toward your destiny, no matter what. And I will teach you a technique that I use for getting gifts from the labyrinth experience, but you can make it your own. So I'd like to share a 5-minute movie, and then I will back up to the point in the movie that teaches you how to make your own labyrinth, and we'll do some sketching. And I'll show you some examples from my previous classes in this subject, where when you get a labyrinth that's like beautiful and nice and magical, you can laminate it or save it and use it as a finger labyrinth. I want to add that I discovered the finger labyrinth in the midwife's waiting room. And whenever I arrived at the midwife, I would trace the labyrinth with my finger as a way to relax. And so primarily I've used it for relaxation, and you can also use it for wish fulfillment, manifestation, distance healing. As I said at the beginning, I wished my mom healing when I couldn't be near her. So it's really a sacred place to go. And I also said before everyone arrived, though, there's a place you can, there's a website that tells you if there's a walking labyrinth near you. But when you make a finger labyrinth, you have this tool at your disposal anytime. And I just want to share my passion and love for labyrinths with you tonight. So I'm hoping that you all stay muted just for the movie. It's only 5 minutes and we'll come back to the salient points afterwards. So I'm going to share screen. Bear with me. Hope it works. Hang on one sec. I'm working out.
The word labyrinth comes from the Greek labyrinthos, derived from the Minoan labrys, a two-headed axe symbol. A labyrinth is a maze-like structure with a single path that leads to its center. In Greek mythology, Daedalus created the labyrinth to house the Minotaur, part man, part bull. Every year, people from Athens were sent into the labyrinth as a sacrifice to the Minotaur. Theseus used Ariadne's help to navigate the labyrinth using her ball of twine and slayed the Minotaur. Labyrinths are found throughout the world, from India to Egypt, from Turkey to Italy, and in our region of the United States. One of the most famous labyrinths is in the Chartres Cathedral in France. The Chartres Labyrinth was constructed sometime between the years 1200 and 1300 CE. It has become the most popular labyrinth shape in use. Labyrinths appear all over the world in astounding variety. Labyrinths were originally constructed on a grand scale people could walk through. Today you will learn to draw a finger labyrinth you can use every day. Every labyrinth has a threshold or entrance, a different number of circles, and a center. Every labyrinth blossoms from a seed or pattern that determines its shape. Here on the left is the seed that will blossom into the 7-circuit labyrinth you see on the right. This classical 7-circuit labyrinth blossoms from a seed pattern that looks like a cross. Choose which labyrinth you'd like to draw, the one on the left or the one on the right. Remember, it takes practice. Labyrinths can be used for meditation, transformation, manifesting, healing, and relaxation. At the entrance to the labyrinth, before you cross the threshold, take a few cleansing breaths and decide what you'd like to release. At the center of the labyrinth, open your heart. Think about what you'd like to receive. To complete your meditation, return to the entrance the way you came. Return whole, transformed, elevated, and relaxed. Choose which labyrinth you'd like to draw, the one on the left or the...
Hi, it's me again. I am going to pause at the slide that has the 2 labyrinths that you can draw. And the one on the left, which starts with a Y in the middle, is a little bit simpler than the one on the right. Hopefully you can see my cursor. You can unmute yourselves if you have questions. Sorry, let me get to the proper point where it's clearest. And we're going to take our pages and try and sketch the labyrinth. In each case, hopefully you can hear me. Oh, screen sharing is paused. Hold on, let's see. So let's see. Make sure you can all see this. We begin with a seed, and you want to draw your seed on the lower third of your paper so it can blossom upward and outward. And you may fall off the page the first time, and you learn as you go along. But you know, the first one starts with a Y, and the other one here, that if you want your labyrinth to look like this, we'll start with a simple cross in the middle, and then this right angle, right angle, right angle, right angle, and then dot, 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 dot. And you'll notice here the red lines. Now this is going to extend. Each step is shown. What you need to know is you may have to extend your lines and curve around a little bit. I'm going to zoom in on this left-hand one so you can see that we begin with the Y and then like a little, you know, a little angle or boomerang here, and then dot, dot, dot. That is your seed pattern. And from the seed, you'll go to the next step, which is to draw these, you know, you'll connect the dots. So it takes a little practice. I'm here for support. Let's just get the most clear. That's good and clear.
I have a question, Michelle.
Yes.
Do you repeat the basic pattern as you go down the line, but just then adding more to it?
No, the basic pattern is the seed.
Yeah.
And next step is to extend the lines from, for example, on the right, here to there, and then around from the dot to the line. And in this case, it's a little, the left-hand one is a little less clear, but from the dot, you make, do you see my cursor going around?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you start at this side and you'll go to the next one. And then you start at this side and you go around, you know, you draw it around. So from the dot, you go to the line, and then from the line, you go all the way around. And I can show you on a piece of paper also. Here, I'm going to do an example of the Y one. Okay. This is your first step. and then a V in each.
Michelle, can you zoom out, please? This is using a part of my brain. I don't think I don't even know.
No, and that's the beauty of it. It's challenging. What I think I'll do is, here, I'm going to stop share for a minute and try and.
Oh no, why did it go away?
Okay, I'll bring it back, but I want to show you. This is the seed pattern of the Y. And you'll go from the dot to the line. And then this next one extends and comes around. And you might need to extend and come around. This is amazing that I'm doing this with using the camera, and then extend and come around to the next thing. And once you get into the flow, you'll see it's kind of logical. Extend and come around to the next one in line. So I'll bring back the screen share.
I have a question. I somehow went in a different direction than you did.
Okay.
Do I have to start again, or is that okay?
Okay, so once you have finished your drawing, you will test it to make sure your finger can get through. Okay. So you have to choose either the cross or the Y as the beginning.
Right. Well, yeah. But I just went, somehow it seemed like I went in a different direction than you did when you were drawing it. It seemed like when I was doing it, I was following the direction in the diagram.
Yes, you might go counterclockwise.
Okay.
But see how that works, going to the next one and then the next one. I do believe that will work. If you're consistent with you need to extend these downward. See, in this picture, there's a little bit of a sketchy downward extension of your original seed. It's a little more apparent on the red side. See how this, you might have to draw down the lines a little bit more to achieve your circuit. It takes practice. Now, once you get the hang of it, you could be at a restaurant doodling on a napkin and you will get it. And you could make a labyrinth. So, you know, as I say to every time I teach this class, magic happens outside of your comfort zone, and it takes practice. But once you get it, it'll click, and it's very rewarding to make these. And not to conjure, are you smarter than a fifth grader? But my middle schoolers can do it, and so can you. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Now, the threshold is the entrance. And if you imagine yourself walking through it, you know, that's where you make a wish or decide what you want to release. You might want to release insecurity and receive confidence, or release anger and receive calm. Release judgment and receive unconditional love. So you want to pair what you want to release with what you want to receive in the center. And as you're either tracing with your finger on the way in or walking in real life, release, release, release on the way in. When you get to the center, you take a moment to breathe and receive what you're wishing for. And that could be something for someone else. And then work your way back out. Receiving, receiving, receiving. You know, Kathy has, let me show you some examples of what my...
Just 1 second, Michelle. I tried the, not the 7th circuit one, but the traditional seed one.
Huh?
You can't see it. want to see if this light works. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can see it. I should have done it on the, is it kind of, I don't know if it's done, but let's see if you can see that.
That
How,
actually looks really good. And
I
just
just
make sure,
followed that. Is that right?
there might be you have to trace it with your finger. It looks damn good. And you have to trace it with your finger. Oh, that looks good, Katie. You have to trace it with your finger and make sure you get to the center.
Okay. And what do you trace? Just the,
You can use your finger now to test, as if you're walking with your finger, as if you're walking through it. Just make sure you get to the center with a unicursal or a single path. And you know what? You might make up your own form, which I've had people do too. I want to show you some examples from, let's see. Here are some examples from my students. They all might look different. And once you get a workable labyrinth, look at this. You can put words in the labyrinth to say as you cross that circuit. Really like that one. They're all going to look different. However, they should function as a single path to the center. That did look good. You see that? That looks like this one. That looks good. It looks functional. But look how different everyone's labyrinth is. Please abandon perfectionism. I know it's hard. I mean, everyone's is different. Hopefully, are you seeing the example?
Yes, they're darling.
Good. Okay, so this is from a prior class. I taught at Westchester County Community College Center for the Arts in White Plains. So we had some word stickers and little decorations to put at the threshold and at the corners. Some nice words help. This person made many labyrinths in a really elaborate design. Here's a nice one, just kind of studded with gems and things. It's a really lovely art practice to decorate it after you've finished it. So, like I said, this requires a little humility and a little practice.
I have a question.
If anyone gets stumped, let me know and I will try and help.
I'm stumped.
Okay.
Can you hear? Oh.
Yes. Let's hear what you're stumped with. Now, for some reason, you might have muted yourself.
Okay. Okay. Can you see me?
Yeah. Let's see real.
Okay. It just is what happened to this line.
Let's see. Right.
Lift it up a little bit.
A little higher. And start again.
I started. So it looks like if
hold it higher though, Janet, please.
What?
Center, yeah. Because I don't see the bottom of it. So
I can't see. Oh, well, let me see. What?
You're almost there. So you have to start with the letter Y. Start with the letter Y. That's where you went wrong.
Wait, so where did I go wrong?
Okay, start again.
I start here.
And start with the letter Y.
Yeah.
Okay. This is your beginning. See here, the letter Y.
Right.
And then inside the Y, you make this boomerang line. Boomerang, a little V. You see the V inside the Y?
Yeah.
And then a dot. So you start with a Y, and then a V, and then a dot.
Yeah.
And then the sides, you want another V, and then a dot. And then a V, and then a dot. Okay, so that's your seed pattern. I'm just going to zoom in on that. Zoom in on the top left here, a Y.
Y.
And then a V on top of the Y, and then a dot, and then these side V's, and then dot, and then dot. Now then you drag the line in the second step. Hold on, sorry, I lost it. Drag the line. It's a little hard to make out, but that's why let me do it again on my piece of paper. I'll do each step. So you begin with a Y. Here. I'm going to stop share and do my own. Begin with a Y, and this is step number 2. Janet, hopefully this is helpful. This is your second step, the V's.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then a dot.
Right. Okay.
Dots all around. This is your seed pattern.
Right. Okay.
For the Y one.
Right.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. And then let me use a different color. This might help. Okay. So I'm doing the joinings in purple. So you want to start joining in a curve. And then it's easy. You're going to extend this one up so you have enough room to the next one, and then the next one. The next level will naturally flow. You just need to extend them a little bit, you see?
Yeah.
So you have enough room for your finger to walk around. See? And then look, everybody look, you might have to draw this down, extend around to the next, look, the next joining. Here is the entrance. Okay, and this is a workable labyrinth. Your finger won't get trapped. Once you get the hang of it, it'll come easier and you'll make them better and better and better. How's it going, Cynthia? Okay.
Don't get it.
Okay.
Not happening.
Michelle, I thought I would never, ever, ever be able to do that. But I don't know if you can see, but I just did.
So you started with a Y.
I did everything that you just said to do, and I stopped thinking. That was my problem.
It looks workable where
it looks okay, yeah. But hey, I never even thought I would even be able to even begin. And I just did everything you just did with you without thinking.
Cynthia, are you starting with the Y shape or the X, the cross?
Why?
Okay.
Why?
Let's do it again. I'm going to do it again. Okay. This is step number 1 for the Y. You have a Y.
Hold on, I'm going to get my green out. Okay, I got the Y here.
Okay, I'm going to go through step by step with the simpler one. Y.
Okay.
Okay, it's like a letter Y.
Yeah.
And then you're going to mirror the Y with these little V's, a V on top, and then a little bit of a boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
Step number 2.
Yes. I have it.
And then in the middle of the V's, you put a dot with about as much, space, equidistant, right? See the dots? Step number 3. Dots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so you're ready to start drawing. And I'm just going to put the original back on. And hopefully you can also see me in the corner. Now you start joining this line to the dot. The first line goes to the dot with a curve. And the second line stretches out and goes to the other.
Wait, I'm not getting that one.
Okay, let me show you how I do it. Ready? I actually go from the line to the dot, a curve. That's the next step. Okay, now go to the next line out. You might want to extend it a little.
Okay.
And you trace, look, around where you came from. Look, around to the next line. You have to extend these lines a little bit. And then this one, same thing, up and over. Sorry, I'm of course all over the map because I'm in my mirror. Look, this needs to be, look, extended up and around your labyrinth to the next dot. So in other words, the next level out is waiting for you, up and around to the next level out. You might need a little extension. And then extend that down and up and around.
Wait,
Hey, Michelle,
Yes.
I'm wondering if conceptually, if you describe it as moving from the left quadrant always to the right quadrant. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of confusing.
Once
You
you make
always-
the first move, once you make that first move, the rest will kind of follow.
now I sort of thought I finished, but can you just look at mine, Michelle?
Yes. Yes. It's looking good. Okay.
But
Wait,
what,
I shouldn't talk because I'm on speaker view. So let me go to gallery.
Can you see mine, Michelle?
It looks good, Janet. Does your finger, does it
I
get
don't
to
know
the middle?
where I start or what. I don't know. Is it finished? But I don't know
Yes.
where-
It looks good to me. If you can trace it with your finger, give it a test.
But where do I begin?
At the threshold, which is at the bottom.
Right, the two places though at the bottom that are open.
Let's see.
Here,
There should be,
let me look. The bottom, it looks like there are three different places.
no, you're gonna enter usually and go to the right. Here, I'll show you the original.
I think she missed the last one all the way around, going all the way around. That's why.
That's right.
Now, this one has one lobe. You enter in one place.
Right. So what did I miss? It's
Janet, put it back up so we can raise it up.
Let me suggest, if it doesn't work for your finger, start over.
no, but I'd like to finish this because I started one already that got almost there. So
Yeah.
I think she just missed that
Oh, wait.
last one
This
that you
one
didn't
goes
go
around?
around.
So this one goes around.
Let's see.
Raise it up some more so we can all see. Yeah. Up
I have
more,
to see.
up more, up more. There you go. See the one that is this right here, this bottom one on the your far left,
Yeah.
that one goes all the way around. I think you're missing that one, no?
This one goes all the way around. Okay, let me see that.
Try
Okay.
it.
And
You
it
hit it a little bit and then go
goes
all the way around.
And then where does it stop? Once
All
it
the
goes
way at
around,
the bottom of the Y, you pull the bottom of the Y down.
at the bottom of the Y. Okay,
And then you should have only one interest. Did that work?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michelle, I have been making labyrinths in sand. I have a wall labyrinth my mother
Oh.
made me. I make them all the time. I just look at them dumbfounded, like, how does that happen? And I just followed what you did and I made my first labyrinth in my whole
Once
life.
thank you, congratulations. Once you get it, it clicks. And part of the lesson is sticking with the imperfection and the discomfort of not being instantly good at something. You need to practice. And you should take a screen grab. I'm going to share the screen one more time if you know how to take a screen capture, or I will email this to you. I can email the plans. It's very rewarding when you get it. And I know you can do it. It takes a little practice. What I would recommend if you're getting stuck repeatedly on the Y beginning, try this. Try the cross beginning where you do a cross and then these right angles, right angles, right angles, right angles, dot, 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 dot. And then look at my cursor. You just swoop. And then the second one is the swoop. And the third one, it just keeps going around. It gets very intuitive and easy. Once you get the hang of it, you're going to go to the next one, to the next one, join the next one to the next one. Next one to the next one. You just need to extend the lines a little more than it shows to give your finger the space to move around it.
Hey, can you pull that up so I can try? Okay, I'll try that again. Okay.
Are there many different kinds of seeds? Like how, is there like some sort of website that you can see the different seeds and then, just keep practicing and try and figure it out?
The book, The Labyrinth of Birth, which I should have handy for tonight, and it's probably right inches away from me. The Labyrinth of Birth has a lot of seed patterns in the back. I'll get it when there are no more questions. When there's a pause, I'll get the book.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
If I'm doing the lab, I don't know, the one that's black and red, what part of the page do I start doing it so it's in the middle?
Yeah, the same thing will be the lower third of your page because it tends to blossom upward. If you notice here where the seed pattern is, it blossoms upward. So I would start at
the lower middle third. You do it in the middle, but in the
lower third. Notice here where I've begun, they all should begin in the lower third of your page.
But in the middle of the lower third?
Labyrinth seeds.
Oh yeah, I just ran out of room at the top of that second one.
It's gonna happen. You have to get to know the art form,
Start again.
But you do it in the middle of the lower third. Is that correct?
Middle of the lower third, where my cursor is right now.
Okay.
And that should give you the space to blossom upward. If you start too high, you might run off the page.
I feel like I'm in art class and I just got an A.
Yeah, terrific. I want to show you also, I'm going to stop share for a minute to show you my double finger labyrinth. It's really awesome because I can do it myself in a double. Okay. I can do it myself with my eyes closed, following the nicely grooved surfaces. Or I can do it with a partner. This is what I love. Finger labyrinth, I can do with a partner. We can like gaze into each other's eyes or have our eyes closed and meditate together. This is good for children with developmental challenges. It balances the two hemispheres of the brain. Actually, I like it better this way. And I've had this for 10 years and each time it's rewarding. Sometimes I do it with like my non-dominant finger, like my pinky finger. And so if you create yourself a finger labyrinth, you can use it every day. You know, what's nice about it, I have a hard time sitting for meditation. So what's nice about it is it assures me, this 3-minute meditation. I follow the lines with my fingers. And it kind of assures that I get my meditation in a simple way, you know what I mean? For someone who has trouble sitting still for meditation, this is a really nice tool to give you the 2 or 5 minutes, if you go slower with your eyes closed, eyes open, breathing deeply, thinking of what you want to receive and what you want to release. And then in the middle, you kind of pause and breathe and take a minute to focus on your desires.
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yeah.
One of the problems that I had is I might not have been hearing you or listening to you correctly, but I didn't get that it's hard to put in words, but what the pictures are, the seed begins and you're taking snapshots of the same drawing. You're going to be drawing one thing, but you broke it down into different visuals. So in the beginning, I didn't quite get that. I thought you needed to draw each one separately.
You have to, it builds.
Right. So somehow the language didn't connect with me because these look like things that I needed to draw separately. And then, on like a practice, then you go and you draw the whole thing.
Well,
But-
look at the whole labyrinth here. You see the Y,
Yeah.
and then you see the V
Mm-hmm.
and the dot. So here you just swing around, and then you start here and swing around. So once you have your Y and your V and your dot,
Mm-hmm.
each step means to show you build on the seed.
Mm-hmm.
And don't redraw the Y.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Y and the V and the dot, and then this is how you connect. You draw sweeping lines in order of increasing large
Circumference. Yeah.
Okay. And then
Okay.
hopefully we'll get, and then this last one sweeps down and sweeps back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a progression.
A progression. That's it. That's it. Got that.
And these two work similarly. That's why I chose these two.
Cynthia, I admire your determination. Really, it's beautiful. You're like, I'm gonna do this.
Damn it!
It's beautiful.
I don't want to stop till everyone gets a basic form. And then, we're also used to doing things instantly the first time. And I think honestly, part of the work is failing and practicing and sitting with it. And I honestly think that's part of the growth when I teach this class. Every age group, literally from age 10 to age 66 or 86. Don't give up, please. It's such a beautiful practice when you get going. I'll be given the opportunity to paint rocks or paint a tree stump, and out comes a labyrinth. Once you know the technique, you can create labyrinths wherever you go with stones or whatever. And I'm, Cynthia, I'll help you. If you didn't get it tonight, I'll help you.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I want you to succeed in as much as your challenge. So I can also do another demonstration if you want. I'm going to stop the screen share and do one more demonstration with the Y. Are you starting with the Y?
I gave up on the Y and I started on this. Is this in the right direction so far?
Hold it up. No. Let me try that one. Let me show you that one. It's not hard. Once you get it, I promise. Do an X.
You keep saying.
I'm gonna this time do the green. Okay, so I think you have the correct seed pattern.
I need more paper. I'll be right back.
I might screw up too sometimes, we're not infallible, but. Okay. So we're going to follow. Can you see me and the drawing?
No.
Just me or just the drawing?
Just the drawings.
Okay, so I'll do it. Look at the drawing where the red lines go. The first one goes from the middle here. Do you see my cursor?
Yes.
Just this red line. From the middle one, start over, because if you mess it up, I recommend starting over.
I'm just starting over.
Okay, so you have a cross, and then the little right angles filling in, and then the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Your first line goes from this middle of the cross to an arch to the second next one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think you might have had it, and then this next one goes from the next line over to the dot. See, from the left to the right.
Uh-huh.
Then you're going to start at the dot.
Okay.
And go all the way. You might need to extend over here into the
Okay.
and the next one. You extend out. You're going to extend this thingy. Look at the red line here. It's got you got to draw it out a little more, and then swoop around to the end of the cross. See, from this thing to the cross.
Yes.
Then the cross. You see, next step. Sweep around from the extend the cross up and out to the next available terminus. Here.
Mm-hmm.
Then back to your left side. This next line. Sweep around to the next available line. The dot. The dot is the next thing available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you have the dot, the left dot here. This is the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Extend it out and around to the next. Now here you have to really extend it downward and come up. Down here, right here is where you. From the dot, sweep around to the next available terminus.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go back to your left side and draw this down. See the red line comes down. You have to extend it down a little bit. Round over to the next available thing, which should be the bottom of your cross.
All right. So you take a look.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop share so you're bigger. Looking good. Let's see. Does it work with your finger?
I made one error,
Okay, you're getting closer.
but it's
really the key is to extend the lines where you need to, and sometimes you go off the page. With the square one, with the cross one, you go off the page a little more.
yeah.
See, notice how much extension is needed to get around. You know, you got to pull these.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull these down a little more than the picture indicates.
Okay.
Especially down here. You know, pull down just to have enough space to get around.
Okay, I think I'm almost there.
I mean, I think what's really needed is some sort of video showing the actual drawing in action, but
Yeah.
not gonna
That's your next project.
Yeah, I'm gonna help. I want to help you succeed at this because it's really a nice practice. And then once you get a working labyrinth, you can write inspirational messages on it, or what I love is to tell a message as you go through each circuit. You can say like, I am strong now, or whatever it is. As you're going through the labyrinth, you can write a story or a message, or just have a mantra to write at the beginning of the labyrinth and to decorate them and give them as gifts. I mean, there's no end. Once you begin, there's no end to the practice. So again, I'm going to put on the seed patterns, and if you know how to do control, you know, I do Command Shift F4 and I take a screen grab, or I can send Kathy the file of this, you know, just the seed patterns, or you might be able to Google it. But did everyone feel that they got the right idea?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And does anyone need extra coaching? Because I want you to get to a working finger labyrinth. Now, for me, it's like a prayer, you know, it's really prayerful and sacred and a chance to enter ceremony. And it's a break from ordinary life into sacred practice. the minute you step in. And there is a labyrinth in Hartsdale. There's one in Rye at Wainwright House. There's one in Lower Manhattan, believe it or not. You know, a lot of people find that once they're attuned to labyrinths, they bump into them on vacation or wherever they might be. They suddenly notice there's a labyrinth to walk. There's actually 2 in Manhattan.
Where are the ones in Manhattan?
Yeah.
I lived there for 10 years. I didn't know that.
Oh, one is in the Battery, in the western, northwestern corner of the Battery. A little bit neglected. I visited it 4 years ago, and I visited it 2 years ago, and it's a little more neglected, but you can find it. And it was dedicated from the city of Jerusalem to the city of Manhattan for peace. And then in Manhattan, also in the East Village, I believe on LaGuardia Place near the community garden, below Washington Square Park, there's the labyrinth.
That's so cool.
I was out with my niece and picked a kosher restaurant because she keeps kosher, and I found this labyrinth, and I was like, labyrinths just find me now because I'm attuned, you know?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you find a labyrinth, you said we start off with releasing, then when we get to the center, we receive what we want. And there was a third thing?
Return.
Okay.
And I return whole. I'm not wearing my necklace, but I had a necklace made that says release, receive, return. And I always return whole.
Mm-hmm.
Or return healed, or return fulfilled. The return is where the integration and closure happens. And I recommend that you make it your own. But this is just my tripartite practice that you might find when you visit labyrinths across the world. A lot of them have a 3-part process. You know, there's that magical number of 3, beginning, middle, and end. Ask, receive, ask, believe, receive.
I just want to thank you because I've been to a number of different labyrinths, but I really didn't understand what they were about. So this is really helpful for me to really appreciate labyrinths now. Thank you.
I'm so glad to share my love of labyrinths. And I also might have seen them and just thought they were decorative or nice.
I'll go down them when I'll go through the labyrinth, but I don't know when I get out of it what's supposed to be. I wasn't fully appreciating what was possible in the experience.
And when it comes to the walking labyrinth, at the beginning, you should take a deep breath and set your intention.
Mm-hmm.
But I always recommend not using your regular walk. So when I say this to students, I've had students walk backward, and I had an elderly man who wanted to do it with his eyes closed. And at Wainwright House, there's shrubbery, and it was late summer, so he literally like tiptoed his way, bumping into the shrubbery, you know, bumbling his way through the labyrinth, and I was like afraid he would fall down. Now, I've also used labyrinth at Hartsdale for exercise, and I lunged my way through the labyrinth. I did lunge and lunge, but never use your ordinary gait. You want to change your gait, whether it be slow or fast or lunging or dancing to the center. You want to make it a sacred act, different from the ordinary. So the key, of course, is to depart from ordinary life and make it something magical, sacred, and, you know, altered, to achieve an altered state, and to understand that throughout time, the symbolism of the labyrinth is that you go in one state and you emerge changed.
Michelle, when we did the retreat in September, there was a labyrinth on the property. And what happened for me, I really hadn't walked the labyrinth before. And I didn't know what to expect. So I was just kind of like discovering where it was taking me. And then it took me to the center. I went, oh, I guess I have to go back the way I came. Kind of like life itself. And so I was walking out. So I feel like I started out being born, and then I got to the center of myself, and then I started unwinding to the process of releasing life itself. So that by the time I came to the end of the labyrinth, you could see it, it's either death or it's the immersion into a higher state without a body, pure energy. So that's where I went with it, kind of a birth and death process.
And that arose authentically because this is a sacred geometry structure. It's really deeply embedded in millennia of culture. And so to discover it authentically, of course, is natural. But you know, the key is you're not really lost, but you're going to the underworld, or you're going back to the womb. And it also mimics a brain hemisphere or the intestines. And so you're going in to the underworld and coming out with the gifts from the underworld that you're meant to share with the rest of the world when you emerge. But it is the scary, that's the subconscious. It's very symbolic of going in and coming out. And I believe we're meant to shed something. And so at Omega Institute, there's a labyrinth and there's a giant cairn of junk because people deposit something in the center, and there's like watches and bottle caps and, you know, all kinds of stones and writings, and it looks like junk, but it's really people's sacrifice to the altar or contribution, and something you shed. And so to me, shedding something at the center has become meaningful. Or, you know, the center is this powerhouse, right? Where the blessing is active and you can wish for yourself or someone else. When you get to the center, if you're in a meditative state, I truly believe and have observed, you know, that manifesting or wish fulfillment is possible using this in the way that, you know, being intentional about your actions, of course. But then when you go to Omega Institute, for example, where there's evidence of people having had their experience there. Interestingly, in Hartsdale, there, you know, it's not a place where the deposits accumulate. I left something there and I don't know what happened to it, but that's not typical. But at Omega Institute or some other labyrinths, you'll see like little, what do you call it? Like a tithe almost, you know, that people have left. But what's interesting is when you go to a walking labyrinth, you know, you have this sense of the essence of other people who've been there. When you use your own finger labyrinth, it's a nice pure tool for your own, like harnessing your power, you know, especially if you write some words next to your threshold, or it's customary to put a pair of footprints at the threshold or a tiger. And that comes from Pam England's book, The Labyrinth of Birth.
Michelle, is the Wainwright Labyrinth accessible to the public?
100% free. Even with COVID, I think you're allowed to enter the grounds of Wainwright House and stroll. It's when you go in the building for a program that you'll be, you know, have a fee, but the grounds historically have been free to stroll. And it's public.
Where is it? When you get to Wainwright, where is it?
Where is it? That's right, yeah.
Okay, so if you're facing the mansion, it's at the back left. So, you know, you really are guided to enter to the right of the mansion, but actually there's a shortcut to it from the left of the mansion.
So it's by the water then?
It's on the water. It's on the water. On the backyard. It's in the backyard.
Thank you.
It's free. And you know, right now the shrubbery won't be grown, but you can still see it. It's nice in the summer when the shrubbery guides you around it, but you can see my cat in the background.
Michelle, we were talking about people leaving things at the center. Did you have a story about the crystals?
Yeah, at Hartsdale, when my mother broke her leg in Chicago, I couldn't be with her. Normally, when my mother ails, you know, I get on a plane and go to Chicago. But I couldn't be with her, so I went to the Labyrinth with a picture of her and some glass crystals that we had. I don't have a picture of it now, but Kathy's been posting pictures of it. And I did that in Hartsdale, and I'd never seen anyone put anything in the center before. And I meant to clean it all up when I was done, but I wanted to see what would happen to it, you know, and over the course of weeks, and it kind of just disappeared. So I made a wish for my mom, and I said, you know, in the center, I just kind of gathered my energy and said, you know, please heal my mom. And mom, you know, like to join with her in a sacred space over the distance. And it was really meaningful for me, of course. And I just think you can use it. It's like a temple. It's like a pop-up temple, and you can use it how you need to use it. When you get to the center, you're charged, and you're powerful. You can manifest and get your wish, especially if you feel servitude, you know, and a gratitude toward the place where you found this labyrinth. But the finger labyrinth brings it home, and you can have this experience any time, any day, if you make your own finger labyrinth. I believe, you know, the magic is portable, and we can't all get to a labyrinth. So the finger labyrinth is really powerful, and I use it to meditate or send a wish or join with a partner, you know, in my experience. And the more people, you know, I love sharing this. I mean, the more I take this, you know, I take this with me to classes and retreats, and people are like, can I see that? You know, and I love sharing the love of Labyrinth. I really do. Like, it's because people often they've been exposed to Labyrinth, and they don't really think much about it, but it's really such an amazing meditation tool, especially for the restless soul. I can't sit still for a 10-minute sit. I really can't. So I do this finger labyrinth for 5 minutes, and it's like something to do with my fingers, something to focus, you know what I mean? It focuses me. I know that was a long answer to your question.
Great answer.
Michelle. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to know if you wanted me to forward this, or do you want to?
Yeah, you can share it. If you have the file, you can share it. I like to put my website at the bottom. I think that's an old version without it, but it's fine. You know, I don't need credit. It's out there in the universe.
Well, I think you should share your website. You can put it in the chat, or I can put it in the chat.
In the chat. There you go.
Michelle Sidney.
So, you know, by trade, I'm a book editor and a writing teacher, but my writing classes always incorporate meditation. And I believe in writing as a healing art and personal expression as a key to wellness, because if we repress and suppress, I feel it manifests as illness. So this really is you know, this is more of a passion project, but it's in keeping with everything else I do. There's my website.
Michelle, I have a question. Thank you, first of all. This has been really awesome. Very cool, very informative. But along the lines of you working and writing, I was kind of curious, like I've never heard a labyrinth, and I've experienced them before, but I've never thought of them as I do now that I've heard you just like describe it in the way you have. And I'm curious, like, does it have any association with the hero's journey?
Yes.
Because it sounds like there's a lot of similarities in the way you're describing it that I'd never considered before.
Yes, and I actually have a book called Stealing Fire from the Gods, and the hero's journey is a formula for storytelling. And yes, I mean, there's the challenge, and then, going past the threshold guardian, what stops you from going in. And yes, it totally mimics the hero's journey, very much so. Yeah.
So cool.
And what I recommend that you do if you're tapped into this, the hero's journey, Katie, is to write some words next to your labyrinth, because those words, just like Dr. Emoto. Oh, that's beautiful.
I just put the ones down that you had said because they resonated.
Yeah, you'll make it your own. And Dr. Emoto has, he put words under the water, and he like charged the water with the words and everything. So, the power of words in conjunction with the labyrinth, saying what you want, expressing your wish as if it's already come true, or, just saying someone's name at the center who needs a prayer or who needs healing, or you might be grieving. I really feel the labyrinth is a beautiful healing tool for grief, connecting with that deceased person. It's a sacred space. Wherever you create a labyrinth is a sacred space. And just knowing that, what I really love is we have the power. We have the power to create it. So I really want to get people to the place where they can draw one, because you can indulge in this kind of meditative practice of the drawing and then of the tracing with your finger. To create one is like next level. To walk through one or to see one is to be a tourist, and to create one, to, conjure your intentions, get in a meditative state, make some art, is like next level. So, I'm going to put my email in the chat, because I'm happy to continue to coach free, about this stuff, or writing or publishing or whatever. You can email me, and I'm, totally free of charge. I mean, I would love this conversation. If tonight's getting late, we can continue the conversation via email. So, also, I want to thank you for trying something outside of your comfort zone, because I think we always grow when we do that. And I know it's not easy. And we're so used to being instantly good at things. We're intelligent, me too. I mean, I like to be instantly good at something, and if not, I'm annoyed. But stick with it, because once it clicks, you have this lovely gift to take and give and create and use for the rest of your life. And remember to breathe while you're standing at the threshold, getting to the center, receiving and giving, clearing.
Beautiful.
It's a great structure for meditation. I'm all over the place, so it gives a little bit of structure to my meditation practice.
Michelle, thank you so much.
My pleasure. And I love you all. I love Kathy, love Cynthia, and Janet, and everyone who I recognize, and new people too. I hope this is an outlet. You're also talented, so it gives you like an outlet, and carry the torch.
All right. So I think on the chat, if you didn't write things down, we've got Michelle's website, a couple of other websites. Jack gave us one, celestiallabyrinths.org.
Michelle's email isn't in there yet.
She put her website.
Original print.
And my email there is there too. Yeah.
Oh, 2 new messages. Click on 2 new messages. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Feel free
You
to
got
email.
it?
I really do welcome emails, and thanks Jack for that link, Celestial Labyrinth.
I don't see your I don't see your email. It's original print what? Original print.
Email at Gmail.
What is it? Sorry.
Original print at gmail.com.
Original print at gmail.com. Okay. Everybody's got that?
Beverly, I like your Swiss Flex 2.5s. Those are my favorite glasses.
Oh, you're one of the few people that recognize them. I worship these glasses.
I love them. They're so lightweight. They're like air.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just waiting. I'm saving up for my next pair. I mean,
And when you sit down on them,
I have these titanium ones that are
Oh.
indestructible, so I need
oh God, I wish I would have known that. I
Yeah.
have one without frames and I just sat on them.
You can run over them, you'll crack the lenses, but the titanium will,
Wow, that's
Awesome.
cool.
Oh, Lordy. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you, Michelle, so much.
Namaste.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.